Welcome everybody to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host Louis Sung, and today we're going to be discussing something that happened in the news recently. This is unfortunately some relevant Dolphins news in the sense that it is something that happened with a Miami Dolphin, and even though I don't think anything big will actually come out of it, it is still news, so we have to discuss it. So, as of yesterday, when you were listening to this, it has been reported, and it came out from Andy Slater, it came out from Channel 10 local news here in Miami, that wide receiver Tyreek Hill, yes, that Tyreek Hill, the Tyreek Hill that we've all come to love and see on the social media all over the place, he apparently is under investigation by the Miami-Dade Police Department, and Local 10 News learned that the wide receiver allegedly hit a man working at Haulover Marina. Now, we're going to provide some context into what actually happened during this whole thing, because once you hear what actually happened and what this whole thing basically boils down to, you're going to probably look at this and think, okay, this isn't really anything that big of a deal, but nevertheless, it is something that we're going to discuss because it is something that happened. So before we get into all that really quick, just want to go ahead and mention that, as always, this show is brought to you by our good friends over at You Brake Wheel Fix. You Brake Wheel Fix is the complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to the sidewalk curb? You Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, and curb rash. Or maybe your wheels are faded or peeling. You don't need to replace them, as You Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, You Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, You Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at You Brake Wheel Fix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to You Brake Wheel Fix and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, one of each, it's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. They give you free squares, special Taco Tuesday promos, Flex Friday specials where you can get your money back if you lose or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up. So use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5, FIVE. Go to PrizePicks.com, deposit your $100, and let PrizePicks give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with and get started winning today. Okay, folks, so let's get into this, and I'm going to try to be as careful as I can when talking about this sort of stuff because obviously this is a very hot button topic for a lot of people. So Tyreek Hill is under investigation by the Miami-Dade Police Department, and here is the situation as it actually happened. So Drew Rosenhaus, who is Tyreek Hill's agent, chartered a boat for him and Tyreek to go do some fishing. Okay, no big deal so far, right? Now, Tyreek Hill has a posse that basically follows him around, does all of his social media stuff, takes pictures, does video, all that wonderful stuff. Now, what happened is that it wasn't even that Tyreek Hill was trying to get on the boat unauthorized. He was allowed to come on. It was supposedly some members of his posse who were trying to get on the boat without paying, and they didn't know any better. They figured everything was okay. One of the workers there got a little handsy with Tyreek's friend, and Tyreek went ahead and slapped him upside the head for it because one other person got handsy before Tyreek did. Now, that should be the end of the story. They all got on the boat. They all went fishing. They all did video. They took pictures. Tyreek Hill caught a nice fish, and that should have been the end of the story. Okay, it happened. Moving on. The worker is not even pressing charges, so what is there to discuss at this point? Well, the problem here, and I don't even consider it a problem, but some other people do, is that they are looking at Tyreek Hill's checkered past and saying, see, once you're a villain, you're always a villain. You're always going to do something wrong, and you deserve to be punished, because that's just the way that people are nowadays. I personally feel like that this is a whole lot of nothing, and people are severely overreacting if they think that Tyreek should receive any kind of punishment for this. For what it's worth, a Dolphins spokesperson has come out regarding Tyreek Hill, saying that they are aware of the situation and they have been in contact with Tyreek Hill, his representatives, and the NFL as a whole, and they will reserve further comment at this time. And honestly, that's all that needs to be said. The way that this is probably going to play out is that Tyreek Hill is going to be told, hey, don't smack people upside the head, And that should be the end of the discussion. It isn't like when it isn't as if Tyreek Hill punched the dude in the face over it. It's not like he got a major beatdown. He basically was like, hey, don't mess with my guy. And they all got on the boat, and that was it. Happy day. That was all that was to it. It wasn't like one of the bigger things that Tyreek Hill has gotten in his past. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to just very briefly give a summary of the things that Tyreek has had to deal with in his life as of so far. His NFL career has been a checkered one, and that is why so many people are looking at this and saying, oh, you know what, this is actually something. TMZ obviously is all over this, saying Tyreek Hill is going to be guilty of assault and battery or something along those lines. Basically, they're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be, and that's their job, right? TMZ is all about like what's going on in the celebrity world, what kind of scandals are happening. For Tyreek Hill, this is probably, compared to everything else that he's dealt with, this is absolutely nothing. In 2014, he was charged on domestic battery and assault. It escalated to physical violence with his then pregnant girlfriend, and he did plead guilty. He was put in trouble for it, and there was a draft controversy when he was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs because so many people were upset with what he had done in the past. Tyreek even admitted later that, you know what, they have every right to be mad about me, but I'm doing my best to become a better person and move on from there. Sadly, things did not end there. Tyreek Hill was then investigated for child abuse, but the district attorney could not actually prove who did what to the child, so what had happened was that Tyreek Hill's son ended up breaking his arm. The story was that Tyreek was the one who broke his arm. Tyreek did not initially say that he had done it. He basically denied it. And not too long after that, the prosecutor said the child abuse probe involving Hill was no longer an active investigation, and Hill was not going to be facing any charges. He was going to be scheduled to meet with the NFL later on, and that lasted apparently 8 hours, but it was a positive day overall. He was not going to be suspended for it because, once again, you couldn't actually prove what had happened. So let me just go ahead and read you real quick the league's explanatory statement in full. It is, and I quote, "Over the past 4 months, we have conducted a comprehensive investigation of allegations regarding Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Throughout this investigation, the NFL's primary concern has been the well-being of the child. Our understanding is that the child is safe and that the child's ongoing care is being directed and monitored by the Johnson County District Court and the Johnson County Department for Children and Families. In conducting our investigation, we have taken great care to ensure that we do not interfere with the county's proceedings or compromise the privacy or welfare of the child in any way. The information developed in the court proceeding is confidential and has not been shared with us, and the court has sealed all law enforcement records. Local law enforcement authorities have publicly advised that the available evidence does not permit them to determine who caused the child's injuries. Similarly, based on the evidence presently available, the NFL cannot conclude that Mr. Hill violated the personal conduct policy. Accordingly, he may attend Kansas City's training camp and participate in all club activities. He has been and will continue to be subject to conditions set forth by the district court, Commissioner Goodell, and the Chiefs, which include clinical evaluation and therapeutic intervention. If further information becomes available through law enforcement, the pending court proceeding, or other sources, we will promptly consider it and take all appropriate steps at that time." Now, the fact that he wasn't punished was shocking because there was a video that had come out that showed Tyreek Hill and his girlfriend talking, and there was some vulgar language included, and it was honestly a little bit disturbing to hear, simply because that let's just say that I would never speak to my partner that way. I'll go ahead and say it that way. But nevertheless, there was no actual physical violence that could be proven, and so they went ahead and just said, you know what, we can't prove that you did anything, so we're not going to suspend you. And in my personal opinion, in that particular case, you have no evidence to prove that any wrongdoing took place. You have nothing to go off of. You don't have any extra witnesses, 20 plus, Deshaun Watson. So with all that in mind, Tyreek Hill, he doesn't get any punishment for that, and moving on from there. But here's what makes it so interesting right now. Obviously, the fact that Tyreek Hill does have this history. Obviously, the fact that people do not forget these things that happen. And sadly, what we've come to in today's society is that people are not willing to forgive. Tyreek Hill, he went ahead, he did something stupid when he was in college. He got punished for it. He paid for it. He was trying to learn from the mistakes. And now this other thing pops up and nobody can prove that any wrongdoing actually took place. So why are they upset? Why are they angry? Does this all stem back from the college one? Does this all just try to make it so that it's guilty until proven innocent, and in which case you can never truly prove innocence any more than you can prove guilt if there's no evidence? It all just basically boils down to, what do you personally think of the person? And so many people made up their minds from the very first incident and were not willing to allow Tyreek Hill the opportunity to learn and grow from his mistakes like he said he was trying to. What's going on here now with this chartered boat and his friends trying to get on the boat without paying, and then Tyreek Hill smacks the dude upside the head because, hey, why are you getting handsy with my friend? All this, I feel like it just stems back from his past. They're not currently worried about what he actually did right now. If you examine this as an isolated incident, you're probably looking at it and being like, this is not a big deal. I smack people upside the head all the time. Some of you might be saying, I know that, look, me and my brother, we mess with each other all the time. We're roughhousing. We do what brothers do. And he doesn't hate me for it. I don't hate him for it. We are very close. He's actually producing my show. He might be listening to this right now, and he's probably rolling his eyes thinking, oh, boy, really, we're going to bring all that up? Yeah, well, brothers do what brothers do when they grow up. So getting all uppity like that, that's just what happens. Now, there's one thing between it being my brother and if I went up to a stranger and smacked them upside the head. Now that obviously is a very different thing. I get that. I'm not saying Tyreek Hill is justified in doing what he did, but if we're looking at this as an isolated incident and all parties are just walking away from this saying, okay, fine, whatever, it happened, moving on. Again, he's not even pressing charges. He's not even going out there and say, I'm going to take you to court because you smacked me. No, it's not happening. It happened. He's like, hey, they sorted the whole thing out there in the moment. They went on. They did their fishing trip. Drew Rosenhaus doesn't seem all that concerned about it. They went ahead and they went fishing. After all of that happened, they just went fishing, and that was the end of the discussion. So why are we having this issue? And the answer I personally feel like is there shouldn't be an issue. I am sure that they're going to make a big deal about this, at least in the national media. And when I say national media, I don't mean like necessarily NFL Network or an ESPN. This is probably going to be a story that ends up taking place on things like CNN and Fox News. They're probably going to be discussing this, talking about domestic violence and how important it is that we address this. And I agree. I agree that it should be addressed in some way. But this is not consistent with those kinds of cases. This is just something that you look at it, you say, probably shouldn't have done that, and then you move on. Because at the end of the day, was anybody seriously hurt? No. Maybe some egos were wounded. Maybe some pride was a little bruised. But aside from that, nothing actually really came of it. So we can get to move on. It's so interesting that this happens now. Literally one show after we talk about all the drama that other teams are dealing with. And if you listen to last night's Pulse of Fins Nation, you actually heard all this already, and we very easily just moved past it. Because what's going on with the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets and the New England Patriots, they have a lot more on their plate than the Miami Dolphins do, even with this whole Tyreek Hill incident. The Buffalo Bills, we're now learning that Stephon Diggs is not actually upset about the fact that he is not getting as much say in the offense as he would like. That appears to be some form of a cover story. The newest report is that what really is going on is that the Buffalo Bills exercised some language in his contract that basically allowed them to accelerate the money that he's getting, and now all of a sudden he's getting massive taxes, all in a vain effort to try to convince DeAndre Hopkins to sign with the Buffalo Bills, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So now Stephon Diggs feels like, you did this to me all for nothing. Well, to be fair, you signed the contract that allowed them to do that. They exercised their team-given right, which you agreed to and signed, to go ahead and do what they did. I can understand if you're upset. Maybe you felt like, nah, you guys are going to do right by me. You won't do that to me. They want to win too, dude. They want DeAndre Hopkins because they feel like that he can help this team now. If you had Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins on the same offense, that's right up there with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as far as wide receiver tandems. Okay, that would be dangerous. But it doesn't look like Hopkins is particularly interested in joining the Buffalo Bills. It looks like he's looking more at the New England Patriots than he is at Buffalo right now. So Stephon Diggs is upset because the Buffalo Bills did a thing that they had every right to do, and they felt like that, you know what, this was what we wanted to do to try to create some salary cap space so that we can pay Hopkins And Diggs is saying, well, that failed, so you did this to me for nothing. Okay, I get it, but are you still going to show up for training camp, or are you going to continue to throw a fit? There are a lot of Vikings fans out there who are looking at Stephon Diggs and saying, you're pulling the same crap that you did when you were here in Minnesota. Good luck, Buffalo. He's all yours now. Now, what's going on with the New York Jets? Not as much drama per se, but it is something that they should have with a concern. They have 2023 to get it right. They have to win this year. This is it. This is their moment. If they don't get it now, they're probably not going to get it, because if you look at the salary cap situation that the New York Jets are going to be in, Quinnen Williams is looking for a brand new deal. He wants $25 to $30 million a year. Where's that money going to come from exactly? Because if you look at the numbers that Aaron Rodgers has on his contract in 2024, guys, the New York Jets are going to be paying the piper for a very, very long time. A very long time. Some of the numbers that we're looking at here are upwards of 50 million plus. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I could probably look it up, but it's a massive, massive contract that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on in 2024. And what are they going to do? Just tell Aaron Rodgers to go kick rocks? They can't do that. Are they hoping that Aaron Rodgers will retire if they don't make it? Or are they just hoping he'll retire anyway, even if they do make it? Because how are you going to pay that much and still be able to keep a decent roster? I don't think it's actually possible. So the New York Jets have one shot to get this right. And if they don't, which I don't think they will, because I think the Dolphins are going to be ahead of them, then I'm so sorry to the New York Jets fans out there. You've got a pickle on your plate. I'm sorry. As for the New England Patriots, well, they're still the Patriots. They're trying to get DeAndre Hopkins to sign so that Mac Jones will have somebody reliable to throw to. We will see what happens with him. I am not going to hold my breath and act like DeAndre Hopkins is the answer to all of their problems. And quite frankly, I'm just not concerned. I think that Bill Belichick will stick around long enough to at least tie or beat Don Shula's record. I'm sure he wants it. He wants to be the winningest coach in NFL history. But it's going to take him a little longer than he hopes, because he doesn't have Tom Brady to run his offense anymore. And really, that's all there is to it. The Patriots are not the Patriots of old anymore. The dynasty has long since come to an end. And there are a lot of Patriots fans who are looking at this whole thing and saying, what happened, man? What was our fall from grace? How did this happen? You lost Tom Brady. That's plain and simple. So, long story short, is this any concern for the Miami Dolphins, this whole Tyreek Hill situation? Me personally, I think the answer is no. The fact that Drew Rosenhaus didn't drop everything to suddenly do damage control and they just went fishing like nothing had happened, that just tells me that this whole incident, it's going to be looked at. They're going to say, hey, don't do stuff like that. And Tyreek will say, okay, I'll try and remember that. Thank you very much. And that's going to be the end of it. It's just not on the same level as everything else that he has dealt with in his career thus far. I just don't think it's worth getting upset about. People get into altercations. It's a very human thing. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got injured. Nothing really happened. Nobody got knocked to the ground. It was just a smack upside the head, for lack of a better term. That's basically what happened. So is it worth getting sued over? Is it worth getting investigated for? No. Me personally, no. I would be upset with you. Absolutely. I would be like, what the heck's the matter with you? What are you doing that for? But it's not worth losing. It's not worth losing your mind over. And I don't think the Dolphins will. I don't think the NFL will. I don't think that the person is going to be pressing charges. He already said he's not going to press charges from what we can tell. So I think that we can safely move on from this whole discussion. That's going to be it for this show. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you haven't already done so, make sure you check out U Brake Wheel Fix. They'll be able to help you out with any damaged wheels, or if you want to give your ride an upgrade, just reach out to them at 305-748-0112 or online at ubrakewheelfix.com to get yourself an estimate. And then you can go to prizepicks.com to use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up, which means, once again, that if you put in $100, they will give you $100, and you can use their money before you even have to touch your money. Go over there to prizepicks.com and start winning today. That's going to be it for this show. Thank you for listening. We will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Fins Nation.